What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon MLB DFS video. It is Monday. It is September 11th, and we are back. I really have no explanation as to yesterday's video, other than hopefully it was just the first time of NFL and no one was really playing MLB, because that was our worst video, I think, of the entire MLB season, view-wise. Barely. I don't know what happened there. I think everyone was probably focused on NFL, but I'm not going to get discouraged. We're coming back. We're strong. We obviously don't have a giveaway because we didn't get the likes in the video, but if you are new to the channel, anytime a video gets at least 50 likes, you leave a comment and you are a subscriber, you have a chance to win a free week of DFS content brought to you by FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Anytime a video gets at least 100 likes, you have a chance to win a free month. 125 likes, a chance to win a free year. And any video gets 150 likes, you have a chance to win a lifetime pass brought to you by FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, which is right here. You can check it out if you're kind of curious about it as well. FTA Plus, $24.99 for a month. Get you MLB, MMA, NASCAR, NFL, and PGA. Or we also have other packages as well. You can check it out. We have a lifetime pass. We also have a yearly pass. So I'm going to extend it through week 2 of NFL because no one saw it. If you use the promo code NFL VIP on the yearly pass, you get $99 for a year instead of $199. So you get $100 off there. So what do? We break down the games. So we're looking at the pitching. All of the pitching that's available. We don't have all the pitchers available right now. And then we look at the bats in the games that we like. So wanted to bring that back. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, let us know. Down in the description of the video, we do have an NFL DraftKings League. We have 200 spots available, but you can get into it. I still believe you can get into it. We had 9 places, so we had 9 people get into the league. It's $10 a week. You can get in. And it's an easy kind of transition into NFL DFS. We are working on a fantastic Sunday, so hopefully you guys brought home the bacon for NFL Week 1 so far, unless you're playing like Monday Night Football. Let us know down below how you did. And yeah, we're going to jump right into it. We've got a total of 3 early games, and then we have 11 main slate games, and we do have some weather concerns again. We're still in that weather system that was kind of messing with us on Sunday, so it's kind of iffy there, but we're going to look at it. We're going to go through a breakdown as if it wasn't like weather concerns. So we're just going to go through everything. Let's say there's no weather concerns, but on the website we have a breakdown. We'll have the weather tab. We'll have everything there. So we can't play this first game. It's not on a slate. It's a single game only. I would probably not, but these 2 offenses, I'd probably just focus on bats. You know, Acuna, Olsen, Albies, Riley. Flip side, Schwarber had another bomb on Sunday. I would have Schwarber, Trey Turner, Real Muto, Harper. Like, there's just, I don't want much to do with the pitching if you were to play the early showdown for this game. But we are going to jump in. So for whatever reason, there's 3 games about 30 minutes earlier than the normal main slate, and we're going to cover that. So we've got the Braves at the Phillies yet again for Game 2. We don't know who the pitcher is for the Braves. According to DraftKings, it could be Kyle Wright coming off the IL. I don't know. If you look at the breakdown here, when it says Kyle Wright on September 6th, he said Wednesday that he expects to make at least 1 more minor league rehab start. So that would mean he's not here. Maybe they push him up because it is a doubleheader. I don't know. So this is one we don't know about. And then we've got Michael Lorenzen. Now, Lorenzen's been up and down. We know we used him for his no-hitter. Then we used him against that same team minus points. So ever since that no-hitter, it's kind of not looked the best. He did go up against the Angels. They are not a prolific hitting team this year. And I did see early Sunday, I think before NFL locked, that the Angels are open to trading Mike Trout if he wants to get traded. So my question of the day is, if Mike Trout gets traded, what team do you think he goes to? Personally, if he could, I don't know if it'd happen, Phillies. He's from there. He loves the Eagles. I think he loves the Phillies, but he can't say that. Him and Bryce Harper in the same lineup. But, again, his contract's pretty ridiculous considering how injury prone he is. But he would save money on taxes not living in California. Maybe he wants to go back to, well, he's from New Jersey, but he grew up a Phillies fan. So that's my thought. What are your thoughts? That is the question of the day. So that being said, I'm not using either of these pitchers. I don't think it's going to be Kyle Wright. It could be. I could be wrong, depending on when you watch this video. But I would be looking at the offenses there. So let's just take a look. Now, with double headers, this is where it gets a little bit screwy because maybe some of the players are playing early and they're not going to play late. But then some of the superstars, they're probably going to play. So games just like the other one, Acuna, Olsen, Riley. I'm assuming if Sean Murphy plays game 1, then it'll be d'Arnaud game 2 or vice versa. Something to look at there. Michael Harris would be another option. I mean, you see the Braves, they obviously hit very, very well all the time. They're batting the ridiculous. The last I looked, it was like 280 as a team, which is unbelievable. Everyone's got red, you can see. Even the ones that don't. I love Albies. I love Orlando Arcia. Depending on who's out there, you can find these people like a Forrest Wall, a Luke Williams. I mean, let's see. Forrest Wall at 2,500 now. I don't know if he's going to play. Comes in, obviously. So yeah, he is on the team. This could be one of those weird options where maybe he does play because it is a doubleheader. This is a cheap option at 2,500. Luke Williams, let's see, game logs. He was recalled also. Game logs, 821. So he's there, but he's not been playing. I don't know if he's going to be playing. It depends if they call him up. Again, these are just the one-offs where if you are playing the, you're looking at the doubleheader. You're looking at maybe they throw someone out there. These could be very cheap options for you in a Braves team. And then Phillies team, obviously we've got Kyle Schwarber. We've got Harper, Brandon Marsh, Trey Turner, Real Muto, cheaper options, Jake Cave, Christian Pache, Garrett Stubbs, I don't know. These are all very cheap. Obviously, everyone's going to be all over Schwarber, and for good reason. His stats make no sense. His WAR makes no sense, but then when he's playing, he's got more home runs than he does singles, which is crazy. So you look at all these numbers, he's mashing. He loves to hit in September. We're in September. He hit a home run yesterday, a monster shot yesterday. So I'm looking at everyone in this. I'm avoiding the pitchers. We don't know who it is. I don't want Lorenzen. He's looked really just kind of broken down since throwing all those pitches in that no-hitter, which was a great story. But we got to take advantage, especially on a 3-game early slate. We've got to look a little bit into this. And there might be a little bit weather in Philly and Atlanta, so this is definitely something to monitor because if that scraps it, then we've got a 2-game early slate, which you never know what's going to happen in one of those. So we moved to that game. We got Nationals at the Pirates. We got Patrick Corbin versus to be announced with the Pirates. What are we going to get? We never know. Actually, this game's, where's Washington? They think it's going to be Josiah Gray. Well, this is MLB Savant, which is partnered with MLB, so they're expecting the Nationals. Let me see. Let me check something out real quick. Let's see if the MLB app has someone listed, or if it's to be announced, or if DraftKings is just drunk right now. Got that. No, it has Patrick Corbin. So I'm pretty sure if you've been with us before, you know I'm not a fan of Patrick Corbin. He is going up against the Pirates, so which on paper is a fantastic matchup for him. Will he come through? We really don't know. Let's just see if it's going to be Patrick Corbin. The last time he pitched was the 5th. So, yeah, this would be his start, unless they skip him for whatever reason. We know he had a terrible start against the Mets. Looking at splits, he's faced Pittsburgh once this year, 5.1 innings, 3 earned runs, 1 home run, a 5.06 ERA, and a 5.2 fantasy points per game against this team. I'm probably avoiding Corbin here. It does have to be announced, but then it did have Andre Jackson here, which I don't know if it's really going to be Andre Jackson or what we're going to get out of him. But his last game was a 4.1 innings on the 5th, so it should be his start here. In that game, he faced Milwaukee, gave up 6 earned runs against Milwaukee. Now, he has not faced Washington this year, He is pitching at home, which he does have a 6.86 ERA. So I'm probably avoiding. See, this is the thing with like a 3-game slate. There's not a ton of great pitching options that I feel confident about. So we can look at these options, and we can kind of see what to kind of expect here. So if you're not taking either pitcher, you want to find those. Like you can see, there's a ton of blue here for the Nats. Not hitting very well as a team, but if I'm taking people here, I'm looking at Joey Meneses here, Elaine Thomas. Kybert Ruiz helped us out, I believe. Was it Saturday? It was either Friday or Saturday. I can't remember which one it was. I would look at him. I would look at C.J. Abrams a little bit. If you want to go down even further, a Dom Smith, a Michael Chavis, or a Carter Keyboom, I'm okay with there. Flip side of this, against, if it is Patrick Corbin, a Brian Hayes against a lefty, I love that. Wouldn't be surprised if he hits a home run. I would look at Brian Reynolds. I would look at Sawinski. Connor Joe against a lefty. If you want to go even further, if he plays, Miguel Andujar. Trying to see if Andujar has done anything since getting called up. I mean, he's played. A couple of pinch hits, a couple starts. So he is getting in there. Watching him as a Yankees fan back in 2018, he was runner-up for Rookie of the Year with Ohtani, which is saying something. Then he got hurt, but he does have a violent swing, so he is a boomer bust play. 2,700, I'm okay with that. That opens up a lot of things. But again, you're looking with a 3-game slate, maybe a 2 if this is here. You don't necessarily have to stack teams, but Patrick Corbin's been bad. So Andujar would be an option I would look at. You want to get a little bit lower in Indy Rodriguez a little bit. Jason DeLay I'm okay with, depending on what catcher is out there. Peguero, I'm okay with. You got to find those value plays that are very low owned, especially if there's a 3-game early slate for you. So I really don't want anything to do with the pitching here. Then we got the Cardinals at the Orioles. We got Dakota Hudson versus Dean Kramer. Now we've used them both this year. That's not anything. That's not a secret. That's what I try to tell you. We will try to help you become a better DFS player. So if you want to help out the channel, there's multiple ways to help. Subscribing to FTA Plus helps. Clicking on the ads on these videos. I know YouTube videos are annoying, but it does help us out a lot considering how much time we put into MLB. NFL takes me a very long time. And if you don't know, I'm pretty much the only one there. I do all of the articles. I do all of the stats. We do have one person that does help with MLB, but he's back to school now, so he can't do much. So it's pretty much just going to be me again. So any little bit helps, guys. I've been thinking about maybe doing Twitch, where you could or sub on Twitch with Amazon Prime for free. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know down below. Like, say, yeah, I would subscribe on Twitch with Amazon Prime membership or whatever it is, just to kind of know. Or would you guys like to focus on here? A lot of people have given us super thanks. I did find out with super thanks on YouTube, though, that YouTube takes 30% of the super thanks right off the top. That doesn't include Google taxes and stuff like that. So if you want to help, instead of a super thanks, Cash App down below. I have Venmo, I have PayPal as tips as well. That definitely helps. But yeah, apparently YouTube takes a ton off the top with super thanks, but that's something helping. Going to our site, getting the views up on the site. So I have ads on the site too. I know, I understand, but bringing these videos, hopefully you guys have been liking them enough that maybe help us out a little bit. All of that is awesome. I don't expect it, but I appreciate it more than you probably know. So I've been taking all the donations, all of the winnings, all of our bets, and I'm pooling it up so I can hopefully get a new computer to help bring home the bacon even more with you guys, because it's very, like you can see, the camera only works when the lighting is down for whatever reason. It's an old camera. It's very old. The computer's like 12 years old. So it's old, and it's showing its age. So hopefully we'll be able to bring it to you guys very, very soon. But yeah, back to this. Dakota Hudson, up and down. He's got a 4.43 ERA. Against Atlanta, his last start, 2.7. It's Atlanta. Against Pittsburgh, 10.8. So he's going up against Baltimore now. Hasn't faced them. Has he faced them at all? Ever? 21 plate appearances, 333 batting average. So looking at this, we've got He's pitching on the road where he does have a considerably worse ERA. He is going into Baltimore, and they are a very good hitting team. I'm probably avoiding Dakota Hudson as well. Dean Kramer is very interesting. Going up against St. Louis, he's got some good numbers here in a row. We've used him multiple times. He has not faced St. Louis this year. He's pitching at home, which he does have a worse ERA at 4.50. I'm okay with that. 8,600 as the top pitcher on a terrible slate, I would be looking at that. So the problem is finding that SP2. Now, out of these, I don't like Lorenzen. It's probably going to be Patrick Corbin. If it is, for whatever reason, Josiah Gray, I'm okay with Josiah Gray here. But I think it's going to be Patrick Corbin. Don't know if it's going to be right. Don't trust Hudson. So honestly, it would be Dean Kramer at 8,600 and Andre Jackson at 5,200 that I'd feel confident about. And I don't really feel confident about that. So that being said, if we look at the bats, I'm focused mainly on looking at Baltimore bats over St. Louis. So I'm looking at, obviously, Gunnar Henderson, Ryan Mountcastle, Adley Rutschman. Those are the big names. Then you, again, Anthony Santander is a big name there. And then you got to find those value plays if you want. Maybe an Austin Hayes, a Jordan Westberg, a Ryan McKenna. Those are what I'm looking at. Maybe Ryan O'Hearn. Just really depends if Ryan O'Hearn gets in that game. But again, 3-game early slate with possibility of rain in one of them brings it down to 2. I'm probably avoiding the early slate, but I wanted to bring every game to you guys. So then we get to the main slate. You got the Rangers at the Blue Jays. You got Dane Dunning versus Chris Bassett. Now, part of the summer, Toronto was striking out pretty decent clip against right-handed pitching. It's kind of changed a little bit because now we got Bo Bichette back. Vlad is starting to hit better. George Springer's had his first multi-home run game, I think, of the year. Brandon Belts has a resurgent season. Like, things are clicking for Toronto as well. But again, obviously, things are offensively, they've clicked for Texas more this year. They have fallen out of playoffs. This is very big implication of the wild card spot. So Texas was leading their division for so long. Houston leapfrogged them. Now Toronto's coming for this spot and wants to cement this wild card spot. So this has a lot of implications. So you're going to see this series being played out like a playoff series, because in theory that's pretty much what it is right now. So we look into this. You got Dane Dunning here. Let's get out of here. You got Dane Dunning. Where is he? Tejas. They have Andrew Haney, but it should be Dane Dunning. So we'll look at this. Game log wise, not a good game against Houston. He gave up 9 earned runs in his last start. He hasn't really had good starts since August 13th against San Francisco, which we took him because San Francisco is at Pitchers Park there. Splits-wise, he's faced Toronto once this year, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. But the thing is, he's not looked good lately. He's on the road now, where he does a little bit better on the road. They do kind of strike out against righties a little bit. If Dane Dunning is starting, I would look at Dane Dunning here for tournaments. I'm not looking at cash at all. And then you got Chris Bassett here. He's coming off a really good game against Oakland. We took him against his former team. Oakland is bad, and it was in Oakland. Now he's facing Texas, which is a way better team than Oakland. He's faced them once this year, didn't do very well. 3.2 innings, 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. Didn't do good at 9,000. I don't think I want to pay up at 9,000 for him against Texas. I think it's pretty obvious what teams we would play here, or what players we would play for Texas, but I would definitely be looking at Corey Seager, obviously. He's due for a home run. He hasn't hit one for a couple at-bats. So he's due. He's hitting like 350 this year, which is nuts. I would look at him. I would look at Nate Lowe. I would look at Mitch Garver. I do like Mitch Garver more against lefties, but I'm okay with Mitch Garver there if he starts. Jonah Heim, I'm okay with. Simeon. Those are all the big names, and I think they're going to be higher owned. And then if you look down, go a little bit more down, Ezekiel Duran, Leody Taveras, I would look at. Robbie Grossman, Travis Jankowski, Austin Hedges, if he starts. Those are all cheaper options here. I just don't trust Chris Bassett enough, especially at his price at $9,000. Then on the flip side of that, if we look at Toronto bats against, if it is Dane Dunning, Vlad, Bo Bichette, those are the top two. Like I mentioned earlier, Brandon Belt's been on fire. George Springer's been coming alive. I would look at Dalton Varsho here. Kevin Kiermaier, cheaper option. Alejandro Kirk, if you want even cheaper options. Ernie Clement, if he's in there, or a Whit Merrifield. It just really depends on the lineup that comes out of there. So like I said, there are playoff implications in this series here. I'm going to take advantage of that completely. Diamondbacks at the Mets is next. You got Zach. I'm going to say this every time. I ghosted my wife. I don't know if I cheated on her. I filed for divorce without telling her. Davies versus Jose Quintana in New York, Citi Field. This is a pitcher's park. Let's take a look at the numbers. Let's take a look at what we've got going on here. So Zach Davies is going to be down here, second lowest here. Game logs, 3 innings there. Didn't have a good start against Colorado, minus 5.3. Had a good start against Baltimore, which makes no sense, 23.9. Cincinnati, 15.1. And then we had Atlanta, minus 14.4. Flip side of that, 14.4. So he doubled it. Going up against the Mets, we do know that the Mets don't look the best. And we're kind of figuring that you don't know what Mets offenses you're going to get. He's already faced them once this year, 5.2 innings, 4 earned runs, 6 Ks, 6.35 ERA, and average 12.6 fantasy points. At his price of $5,200, maybe throw him in a tournament, which I can't believe I'm saying, but at $5,200, anything is on the table in a tournament, especially in a pitcher's park like this of Citi Field. But again, the Mets can come alive if they need to. And then on the flip side of that, Jose Quintana here. Got him at 7,300. Game log wise, he's coming off a couple of good starts here. He's 7,300, so he's the exact same price he was last week against Washington. Has not faced Arizona this year. We do know that Arizona hits pretty well this year, though, especially against lefties. He's pitching at home, which is he's really good at home, but I don't know if I trust him. If you look at these numbers, I think you know that I absolutely love to take Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Christian Walker, both of those two names against a lefty pitcher in Quintana. Tommy Pham hits lefties well. Evan Longoria hits lefties well. Focus on if you want to get a little bit, Ketel Marte is a switch hitter. Corbin Carroll can hit lefties, but those are all the very high expensive guys. They did sign Sebi Zavala, so he could be a cheaper option if he's there. Gabriel Moreno, I could see a little bit. Jordan Lawler would be another one I'd look at. If you aren't using Davies, and you want to look at the Mets, a Mark Vientos, a Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Francisco Alvarez. Those are all options. Jeff McNeil against a righty I would look at. You want to get even lower, a Brett Beatty or a Dan Vogelbach I'm okay with as well. But I don't know if I have much pitching here. Maybe a little bit of Zach Davies just due to his price in this ballpark, but I really do like an Arizona Diamondback stack for today. A little bit more than I like a Mets stack. Then we get the Yankees at the Red Sox, a series that kind of really doesn't mean anything because the Yankees are pretty much out of it. At Sunday afternoon, right before start, I believe, we saw Jason Dominguez was scratched with elbow inflammation, which hopefully that's nothing. But yeah, that takes a big bat out of the lineup if he's out. But then, yeah, you got Clark Schmidt versus Cutter Crawford. Now, Clark Schmidt's kind of come along lately. He's started off kind of slow this year. Coming on strong, 4.54 ERA, 9.8 record, but he's got 139 strikeouts. A good start against Detroit, 6.1 innings, I believe. That was his longest. Nope, 6.2 against Tampa Bay was his longest outing of his career, I believe. But he came really close against Detroit, gave up 3 earned runs there. Splits-wise, he's faced Boston 3 times already this year. 15.2 innings, 5 earned runs, 15 strikeouts, 14.8 fantasy points per game, and a 2.87 ERA. 14.8 fantasy points per game is perfect, especially at this price. Like we said, if you've been here before, we're at least looking for 2.2 fantasy points, or 2 times the fantasy points. So at 6.6, we're looking at 13.2 is what we need to feel confident about it. It is in Boston. We do know if you go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, you hover over the MLB tab, and you go down to the ballpark stat ratings. It shows how many runs, home runs, ranks, slugging percentage, all of that for this ballpark. So it is a offensive ballpark. That is the problem a little bit here. And then we got Cutter Crawford here. I believe he got lit up his last start. I think we stacked against him, but let's take a look. 5,700 here. Yeah, against Tampa Bay, gave up 5 earned runs. We actually stacked Tampa Bay on that one. Splits-wise, he's faced New York once this year. 6 innings, pitched 1 earned run. I believe the last time they faced, the Yankees were not doing too well. So they've come back strong. But again, Jason Dominguez coming in there. They called up the young guys. I think Cutter Crawford would be one where I don't trust him enough. I'd rather use Clark Schmidt here. But we'll look at the games. We'll look at the numbers. Kind of looking at a Yankee stack against Cutter Crawford and a Clark Schmidt here. Not really a Boston stack. A Judge, Stanton, I would look at. If Dominguez is in there, I would definitely look at Dominguez as a cheaper option. Volpe, DJ LeMahieu, and Gleyber Torres have been on fire, coming along strong lately. Austin Wells, getting his first taste of this rivalry, if you can even call it a rivalry anymore, I would look at him. If you want to go a little bit lower, Everson Pereira is a possibility. Oswald Peraza has been coming on strong. Those are the cheaper options that you could feel maybe a little bit confident about, instead of, if you don't want to pay up for the Judge and Stan combination. So I am looking at Clark Schmidt and the Yankees bats. I'm not looking at Crawford. I'm not really looking at Boston. Rays at the Twins, you've got Tyler Glasnow versus Sonny Gray. This should be a fantastic matchup. Glasnow is the most expensive pitcher on the slate at $10,800, where Sonny Gray is $8,800. Now, I don't know why they have Sonny Gray listed as a relief pitcher. Really have no idea why DraftKings is doing that. We used Tyler Glasnow in his last start against Boston. 14 Ks, career high, 41.4 fantasy points. So his number did go up to 10,800, so it went up 400. He hasn't faced Minnesota this year. He's pitching on the road, where he does have a little bit worse ERA on the road, but if anyone can mow this Twins lineup down that is not named the New York Yankees in the wild card or the playoffs, it's Tyler Glasnow. You are going to be paying a very high price for him at 10,800. That might be the problem, but that might be you. This might be a lineup where you play him in like a tournament at 10,800, and then you come back and use a Zach Davies at 5,200 because he is so cheap. That could be an instance there where you could go around it that way. And then Sonny Gray, he's got a very low ERA. We know what he's done. Coming off not really a good start against Cleveland. Did have a good start against Cleveland prior to that. Has not faced Tampa Bay this year. He's pitching at home, where he does have a better ERA at 2.8. I think this could be a lower scoring game. Now, I have no numbers to go off of that, but probably not focused on the bats in this one. I'm just going to focus on the pitching here. I don't really want to do with the bats right now. If weather changes here, or if we've got something else in the works, or maybe there's a couple of games that get like rained out, like a New York, Boston, Kansas City, Chicago White Sox type one, then we could look at maybe some of the bats there because we might need to. But I'm strictly focused on both of these pitchers here. I don't want really anything to do with the bats at the moment. So the making of this video, I'm not really going to cover the bats. Towards the end of this video, we do simulations. And if you've been here before, you know what I'm talking about. But every day we do 10,000 simulations and show the projections right under the MLB tab. DFS player projections right here. Now, in the video, we go through the top 10 pitchers and top 10 bats through 2,000 simulations. So what I do is when I'm doing the video on this monitor right here, I'm running the simulations through 2,000. Have not seen the end result till we get towards the end of the video. We will go over those towards. So definitely stick around. And then about an hour or 2 hours before first pitch of the main slate, we run the 10,000 simulations and we post those results, and you can compare back and forth how the number has changed. So wanted to bring that to your attention. Hopefully you enjoy what we bring to you guys there. So I don't know if there's any Tampa Bay or Minnesota bats in those 2,000 simulations of what I'm saying. We'll get to that at the end. Then you got the Royals at the White Sox. We don't know what's going on here. Let's see if it's anyone. They think it might be Dylan Cease. He last pitched on Tuesday, so it would make sense that it would be, and it was against this exact team. We did not use him at this. We did not use him against this Kansas City team. We actually stacked Kansas City against him, and it worked out for us. He gave up 3 home runs. I believe we had all 3 of those home runs in our DraftKings lineup last Tuesday. Kind of crazy to think about, but yeah. Again, at 8,300, he has dropped down. I don't trust him. I cannot trust Dylan Cease at all against this Kansas City team. I just can't. If he is starting, I absolutely love Kansas City as a stack again. Then we find, is it going to be Brady Singer? And so this is the exact same matchup that we just saw last week. I wouldn't use Brady Singer here. He gave up 6 earned runs against them, so he's faced them twice this year, giving up 7 earned runs in 11 innings. This would be one that I might stack the game. So let's take a look at the bats that we could look at. Now, again, there is weather concern. Hopefully it's not too bad, but there is a weather concern for rain here, which could mess with these lineups. The game could get postponed. Depending on when you watch this video, maybe the game's already postponed. But looking at this, I'm not using Cease. I would look at MJ Melendez to hit a home run. Bobby Witt Jr. I love. Nelson Velasquez has dominated every single time we've used him. Let's see if his price has gone up a lot. It's still only 3,200. I'm okay with that. I feel like it should be a lot higher. Let's see. Did he hit a home run that game? 9-5. He did hit a home run. He hit. That's part of the 3-game stretch where he hit a home run there. So he's due for a home run. Love, he's a cheap option at 3,200. As long as the weather's okay, I'm okay with a Nelson Velasquez shot there. I would look at Michael Massey a little bit. Edward Olivares. Now, did Olivares hit one in that game too? I can't remember. I think he did. 9-5. He didn't. He hit a double. He only had 5. It was the game before that he had 2 home runs. Okay. It was the day before that he had 2 home runs. But yeah, I'm still looking at a Kansas City stack there. And then White Sox stack, depending on who you're looking at. Eloy, Andrew Vaughn, I'm okay with. Colas, Robert Jr., Lou Bob there. Maybe a Corey Lee is a cheap option. Those would be the bats that I'd look at there. But if it is, in fact, both Brady Singer and Dylan Cease, I'm stacking both teams. I don't want either of those pitchers. Then we get the Marlins at the Brewers. You got Jesus Luzardo versus Brandon Woodruff. Let's take a gander. Luzardo, the Jesus Lizard here. Game logs coming off a good game against the Dodgers. Actually, he didn't hit value. 2 earned runs is pretty good against this team. Had a great game against Tampa Bay, a great game against San Diego. Splits-wise, he has not faced Milwaukee this year, which is perfect. He is pitching on the road, where he does have a worse ERA on the road, and Milwaukee's been hitting well. So at 8,500, I don't know if I'll use him. Jesus Lizard might stay in his cave for me today. And then Brandon Woodruff, we know he's a fantastic pitcher. He's second highest, most expensive pitcher at 10,300, but he's had 3 fantastic starts in a row here. Looking at Miami, has not faced them this year. Obviously, he's only made 8 starts total this year. He's pitching at home, where he does have a 1.65 ERA. But again, that's only 3 games started. But he could be in store for a good game here. So I really do love Brandon Woodruff here. The bats that I would use, I'm probably not focused on Miami bats. I'll look at Milwaukee bats. And we can look at Milwaukee bats real quick for you. I think you pretty much know it's going to be Christian Yelich, going to be Willy Adames, my top 2. William Contreras is my top 3. And then it just depends on Mark Canha, cheaper option. Joey Weimer would be a cheaper option. Go down a little bit further, a Bryce Terang, a Sal Frelick, Owen Miller. I mean, these are all cheaper options that you could go down to. That I'm not focused. I'm focused on using Brandon Woodruff, not Luzardo, and the Brewers bats over Miami bats. Athletics at Houston, you've got Mason Miller versus Framber Valdez. Now, Framber Valdez has been at 9,800 game logs, coming off a pretty good game against Texas, but did not get value. Against Boston, he got a little bit of value. Against Detroit, he got the value there. Now he gets a juicy matchup against Oakland. He's faced them 3 times this year. 20 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 5 walks, 16 Ks. He's averaging 24 fantasy points and a 2.25 ERA. I do wish this game were in Oakland, but this is one where I feel confident about taking Framber because he's under 10,000 again. He's 9,800. I want to see when he faced Oakland last, what his price was. Oakland, it was 10,800, so he's 1,000 less there, and he had only 9.9. That was in Oakland. Then he faced at Oakland again, 10,700, and then this is the same team that he had a no-hitter on So he's cheaper than he's ever been against Oakland. I'm okay with Framber Valdez here. Definitely okay. They show Mason Miller, but on here it showed Waldachuk. So Waldachuk, 9.5. So I don't know. Let's see. It could be Ken Waldachuk. It shows Mason Miller, Oakland. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, he 2 innings there. He went 6 there, 7 there, 4 there. So I think he's more of a bullpen guy. I think it's going to be Ken Waldachuk. I think I love me some Framber Valdez, and I love Astros stack here against who it's probably going to be. Oh, no, they've got Mason Miller here. I don't know. We'll see. But it would be whoever they're facing, it's still going to be an Astros stack that I enjoy the most. So I'm not looking at Oakland bats. I'm looking at Framber, and then I'm looking at Michael Brantley. I'm looking at Yordan Alvarez. I'm looking at Yannier Diaz, Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Pena, Altuve. I mean, these are all the big names. I think the Astros are a team where you're going to want to stack them multiple times, like different stacks. So if you want to go lower than that, you could look at Mauricio Dubon. You could look at Chas McCormick, even though Dusty Baker doesn't think he's a big boy, I guess, which is a weird statement to say. But Dusty Baker's, 95 years old and still wears his skin-tight black surgical gloves because he doesn't want to get the vid, I believe. A John Singleton would be a cheaper option. I probably wouldn't use Maldonado. I probably wouldn't use Gray Kissinger. I just don't trust him enough. Maybe go down to Jake Myers. I don't know if Jake Myers is even going to play with, the way the outfield is with Kyle Tucker's there. For whatever reason, they're not using Chas McCormick in center field all the time. But then you got Michael Brantley back, who should be playing the outfield too. So, love me an Astro stack at different ways to finding those players. Just really depends on waiting till the lineup comes out to find it, and then love Framber Valdez in this one. Then you got the Cubs at the Rockies. Jordan Wicks versus to be announced. I don't want anything to do with pitching here because it's in Coors. Let's see if they think it's going to be anybody for Colorado. Probably down at the bottom. Kyle Freeland. For whatever reason, I wanted to stack him last time against Arizona. I actually was all over in Arizona. No, I was Christian Walker was the only one who did not hit a home run against a lefty for me to win $700 in a parlay against Kyle Freeland because he went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, and that wasn't a Christian Walker. 12.1 fantasy points. I don't trust him against the Cubs. I'm not looking at Colorado bats, but I am looking at Cubs bats. So who do we like? What bats do we like against a lefty pitcher in Colorado? I love, and we'll see. Chris Morel, I love him. Patrick Wisdom is a boomer bust, home runner bust type pick against a lefty. I would look at Suzuki. I would look at Ian Happ. Love me some Dansby Swanson against the lefty, especially in this ballpark. Candelario I'm okay with. Cody Bellinger back in this ballpark where he's played a ton being with the Dodgers, I'm okay with. And I'm also looking at Nico Horner as well. And if you're not using Wicks, Ryan McMahon, Nolan Jones, Brendan Rodgers, I would look at Diaz. I would look at that's probably it for Colorado. I'm more of a Cubs stack here than I am anything else. Angels at the Mariners, you got Reed Detmers versus Logan Gilbert. Let's see, where's Detmers? Reed Detmers here. I'm probably not using him against this team. He's faced him twice this year, giving up 8.2 innings, 9 earned runs, 10 runs total. Not focused on him. I'm looking at the Seattle Mariners bats. And then we got Logan Gilbert against the Angels. I love Logan Gilbert here. We used him against Cincinnati his last start, 22.6. He's faced the Angels once this year. He actually did get lit up by the Angels once this year. 6 earned runs there, 8 hits. At 9,200, I think in that same spot, I would rather use Sonny Gray or Kershaw. Probably not using Gilbert, but I'm definitely looking at the Mariners bats. The bats I would look at are Eugenio Suarez. I would look at Teoscar Hernandez. Let's just look at him real quick. Let's see who's had success. 65 plate appearances is pretty good. Yeah, let's take a look real quick. I would use Suarez. I would use Julio Rodriguez against him. Dylan Moore I'm okay with. Cal Raleigh, big dumper. I would use Cal Raleigh here. Tasker Hernandez are the bigger ones. And if you want to go a little bit lower, I would go J.P. Crawford and Ty France there. Then we got the Guardians at the Giants. We got Gavin Williams versus to be announced. Now, I didn't use Gavin Williams his last start, but I don't mind him here against San Francisco. In his last start, he actually got the value we needed against Minnesota. Splits-wise, he has not faced San Francisco this year. I would take him in this ballpark. It is a fantastic pitcher's park. Pitching on the road, he's got a 1.96 ERA, and it's a pitcher's park. I'm all in on Gavin Williams. I really don't want anything to do with the offenses on either side here. I would definitely look at Gavin Williams and kind of just leave it at that. Not going to focus on Cleveland bats, not going to focus on San Francisco bats. I'm focusing primarily on Gavin Williams, and that's it in this game. And then this one is the Padres at the Dodgers. You've got Pedro Avila versus to be announced. But according to DraftKings, it looks like it's going to be Clayton Kershaw. And then you've got 30 plate appearances out of Avila, 222 batting average here. Probably don't want anything to do with... I just want to see Avila. I'm trying to think. I think we used Avila a little bit his last start, and he got lit up. No, it was the start before that against San Francisco. His last start against Philly, 16.2, was he hit value there. Splits-wise, he's faced Dodgers once this year already, 4.2 innings. 5 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 7 Ks. He's had a good success there. I would like this game if it were more in San Diego because that is a pitcher's park, but I will take a little bit of Avila here because I think he'll go lower owned, especially at 6,000. And then let's see if it is going to be Kershaw. He last pitched, was it Tuesday? But the problem is, here's the problem. If you read the update, Dave Roberts said Thursday that Kershaw is pitching through continued left shoulder trouble, but will play through the injury down the stretch, which is a dumb thing to do. You're in first. You're cruising through it. Why not rest him until the playoffs? This is what the Dodgers do. They're the best team through the entire year, and then they get to the playoffs and they break down. So at 9,600, knowing that he has a problem with his shoulder, I want nothing to do with that. Could he have a good game? He could. He's already faced San Diego once this year. Only went 4.2 innings, 4 earned runs in that, but he did have 7 strikeouts. But again, but he had 5 walks in that game too. I'm avoiding Clayton Kershaw at 9,600 for sure. If he does have shoulder problem and he can't pitch very well, I would be looking at Mookie Betts. I would be looking at JD Martinez, Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith against the lefty. Give me some Will Smith. Or no, that's against Avila. My bad. San Diego bats. Fernando Tatis. Don't be surprised if he leads the game off with a home run. Machado, I would look at. Tatis. Juan Soto, I'm okay with. I don't know if I want to pay up for Juan Soto that much. Xander Bogaerts against Kershaw, I'm okay with. Jurickson Profar, who just signed a major league deal the other day, came back now. I would look at him. He's going to be a cheap option. Ha-Seong Kim. You could be looking at, is Kim back from injury? He is. When did he get back? Or he wasn't hurt. Who am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking Jake Cronenworth. Ha-Seong Kim, I don't mind him against Kershaw either. So I will have Pedro Avila a little bit in tournaments at 6,000, but I will also have a Dodger stack a little bit too. And there you have it. There's the breakdown, hopefully for Monday. Hopefully more people see this video than yesterday's video, but we've went through all of the pitching and all of the bats that we feel confident about. Now let's take a little gander at what we like through 2,000 simulations from FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So, again, these are 2,000 right now, but towards the end, about an hour or two before the main slate locks, we will get through all of them and do 10,000 simulations. So, number 1 is Julio Rodriguez against Reed Detmers. Number 2 is Brandon Nimmo versus Zach Davies. 3 is Corey Seager versus Chris Bassett. 4, Ronald Acuna Jr. against Walker. 5 is Aaron Judge versus Cutter Crawford. 6 is Gunnar Henderson versus Dakota Hudson. 7 is Adley Rutschman versus Dakota Hudson. 8 is Kyle Schwarber versus Charlie Morton in the first game. 9 is Francisco Lindor versus Zach Davies. And 10 is Pete Alonso versus Zach Davies as well. So in the top 10, we have 3 New York Mets bats. We have 1 Philly, 2 Baltimore, 1 New York, only 1 Atlanta, which is kind of crazy, 1 Texas, and 1 Seattle. And then pitching-wise throughout the day, as of now, and sometimes you don't have to agree with this. So these are just simulations. Sometimes you don't need to agree with them. Like Logan Gilbert number 1, I don't like that. It's got Logan Gilbert number 1. 2 is Tyler Glasnow. 3 is Brandon Woodruff. 4 is Cutter Crawford. 5 is Sonny Gray. 6, they have Aaron Nola, but I don't think he's going to be starting. 7 is Dane Dunning. 8 is Jesus Luzardo. 9 is Framber Valdez, which I'll have at the top. That's why he's the picture of the video and the article on the website. And number 10 is Chris Bassett versus Texas, which I don't agree with either. So these are kind of good. You get to see all this stuff, and then you get to agree or look to thinking about agreeing with everything, that if you feel confident about it or not. So that's my thought. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Go check out the website. Good luck on this slate, everyone. Let's bring home some bacon. Peace.